5 count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, copy. That is good for today. So, station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
We are ready for the event.
NASA Communications, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Chelsea Bayarte with NASA Communications. How do you hear me?
Chelsea, we have you loud and clear. How about us?
Good morning. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today. We have a really big group on our phone bridge eager to hear all about your mission. Reporters calling in, please go ahead and press *1 at this time to enter our question queue. In the meantime, Butch and Sunny, I'll toss it over to you for some opening remarks.
Okay, well, great, Chelsea. Thank you so much. Welcome aboard the International Space Station first. It's a great place to be, a great place to live, a great place to work. As you can see, the American flag behind us, showing the pride in our nation and what we have been able to do to this point on this mission. I thought I would take a few minutes and talk about the first couple of days of the mission when we were in Starliner. So let's start there. Launch was spectacular. I mean, truly amazing. And then we got into our operational capabilities checks, and the spacecraft performed unbelievably well. We have these things called Hooper-Carper's rating scale, 1 to 10, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. I've never given a 10 in all my flight test year, a 1 in all my flight test years on a Hooper-Carper rating scale for handling qualities, but I was tempted. That's how precise this spacecraft controlled in all aspects of the various tests we did. I won't go into those details of what the tests were, but it was truly amazing, the precision that this spacecraft held. And then we got into day 2, the start of day 2. It was the same starting off. And then we did have some failures, as we're all aware. We had lost an RCS jet, and then we lost another one. And then you could tell the thrust, the control, the capability was degraded. The handling qualities were not the same. But thankfully, we had practiced and we had gotten certified for manual control. And so we took over manual control for over an hour on the V-bar, the axis where we actually rendezvous with the space station. And for over an hour while the teams on the ground did their troubleshooting. And we got a couple of jets back. And then from that point on, you could tell that the thrust was degraded. At the time, we didn't know why. Obviously, since the failures had just happened, you could tell it was degraded. But it was still impressive. Let me give you an example. Coming into docking, those final 10 meters, we have a tolerance when we actually connect with the space station of 5 degrees in attitude and about 4 inches in position. And so Starliner came right down in automatic mode at this point and right down the middle, even with the degraded thrusters, which was truly impressive, knowing what we know now and not knowing what we knew, not knowing it then, but what we know now, truly impressive that even with degraded thrusters, the capability was there to actually dock that precise. And then, of course, we became Expedition 71 crew members. We're fully certified for all aspects of life aboard the space station here, whether it's spacewalks or operating the over-orbit arm or maintenance, which we've done a lot of. That's part of living here. You have to keep that space station going. And over to Sunny for some of those details.
Yeah, thanks, Butch. I'll just add a couple other things once we got onto the space station. We still had a lot of checks for Starliner, and those all went really well. One of them was practicing for safe haven to make sure that we had all the emergency equipment that's laid out that we need to have to get into our spacecraft and use it as a safe haven in case something happens to the International Space Station. There was also a couple other tests with habitability to make sure that the spacecraft is ready to support 4 people. We grabbed a couple ISS crew members to come in there with us and go through all of the actions, and as well as checked out the ECLSS, the environmental control system, pretty thoroughly throughout all these tests, and it really worked very well. So we are really satisfied with putting more people in the spacecraft once we get back and we work through all the issues that we've found already. I'll just reiterate again, this is a test flight. We were expecting to find some things, and so we are finding stuff, and we're correcting it and making changes, making updates with our control team. Every day we had conferences to go over things that we found or we thought about or we might add for the next flight. Once we got onto the space station, aside for all the Starliner tests, we've been integrated right into Expedition 71, 71 plus as we call it, and we've been doing science for them, maintenance, some major maintenance that has been waiting for a little while, like stuff that's been on the books for a little bit. There's the urine processor pump that we took one good pump out and put into a good body, and it's called Franken pump. That's ready to go in case we have any problems with the urine processing system. Butch and I just did a moderate temperature loop, low temperature loop cooling refill for all the USOS modules. I got to do some gene sequencing. I think you got to do some other science experiments as well with a moon microscope that was 3D printed. So we've been thoroughly busy up here, integrated right into the crew, and every about once a week we get to jump into Starliner and talk to our control team there and work through all the new nuances that they're working very hard on the ground to make sure that we will be able to come home before too long.
Over to you, Chelsea.
That sounds great. Thanks, Butch and Sunny. Let's jump into some questions. We're going to start with Bill Harwood with CBS News.
Butch, given what you just told us in your remarks, based on what you know today, how confident are you that the Starliner will get you home safely, given the known helium leaks and the earlier thruster issues? And as test pilots, are you satisfied you have a workable backup procedures in place if the normal deorbit plan cannot be executed for some reason? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you that's a good question, Bill, obviously. Yes, I'll say yes to all of those questions. We're absolutely confident. We've already, as Sunny mentioned, for Safe Haven, we had that test, not just the test, but also to do it for real when we had that possible conjunction a few weeks ago. And we got in Starliner, we were ready to go. Everything's in place as far as what we know now. That is a good point. We are actually making these decisions, and we trust them. We trust their integrity. We trust their technical acumen, and we trust that the tests that we're doing are the ones that we need to do to get the right answers, to give us the data that we need to come back.
Butch and Sunny, thanks so much for taking the time. We're excited to talk to you again shortly before you come home. Have a great rest of your mission.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you.
Decades in human spaceflight, and that gives us confidence now that it will continue. We are very close and friends with those that are making these decisions, and we trust them. We trust their integrity. We trust their technical acumen, and we trust that the tests that we're doing are the ones that we need to do to get the right answers, to give us the data that we need to come back.
Butch and Sunny, thanks so much for taking the time. We're excited to talk to you again shortly before you come home. Have a great rest of your mission.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.